And then we'll talk about the patch 12.3. So first up, the Ahri rework. The champion has been refreshed. The base stats and skills have all been updated. So real quick, her passive is actually, I feel like sort of like in Ruin King a little bit. So she gains essence fragments for killing minions or monsters. When she obtains 9, she consumes them to heal for a pretty big amount. When she scores a takedown against an enemy champion, she feasts upon their essence, healing for a little bit extra. So like a little triumph for that. Her Q is the same. I believe the AP ratio is down a little bit. Her W is the same, but they've once again, I feel like, updated the missile targeting and last hitting logic. The E is the same, but you don't deal bonus damage to enemies hit by it, and it does more damage across the board. And the ultimate is where the really cool stuff happens. So the initial duration is 15 seconds, up from 10, so you have longer to cast it. When you consume a champion's essence, when you get a takedown with your passive on a champion, while the ultimate's active, it will extend the duration by an up to 10 seconds, and it will grant an additional cast of her ultimate, and you can only cast or have 3 casts stored max. But she's a reset character now.
Yeah, she's a reset character. I think no matter what, it's a better design for her, just because she's not reliant completely on fishing for E's, because that's really what Ahri does now, is you fish for an E, then hit full combo. And I think she's cool. I really think that they made all of her abilities by themselves feel better now. You're not just a one ability character where you fire everything out after. Everything is better. She is going to, in my opinion, I think her passive is very, very strong, but it's also very strong the better you are at the game. Like, this is a character that, dude, if you're an Iron player, you're probably not CSing that well. Whereas if you're a challenger player and you're hitting, like, say you're fucking Chovy, for example, who hits like perfect CS every game, right? If he hits perfect CS every single fucking wave and a half, he heals. Whereas like an Iron player probably doesn't heal until like every 3 or 4 waves.
Very similar to Cho'Gath in that manner, where if you're getting every single last hit, you're getting a free potion every single wave. You're getting a free health and mana potion for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those that the value of the ability goes up with skill. So they increased the damage on Q and E. So like her flat damage has just gone up across the board. Like Q, W, E base damages have gone up. Q and E ratios went up. Your ultimate, I mean, again, potentially you get to get more casts, and more casts is more damage. Obviously they took out the damage amp from Charm, but I think that's, again, something that they've generally been phasing out all of like the flat damage reduction and flat damage bonuses that are just like X character takes 20% more damage.
Yeah. She was actually, I think, the only character that survived that, and in fact they leaned into it, I believe, I think they took it out and added it back. Actually,
yeah, I remember them adding it back when they did one of her like changes. They changed her passive and her Q passive like a billion times, and during one of those they changed it, I think. But yeah, this is fucking cool. I think she's going to be way more interesting.
Absolutely. Like across the board, I think maybe her kit feels fine right now if you enjoy that style of play. But absolutely, we can all agree that for an assassin like combo mage, her damage was pitiful unless she was already fed.
Yeah, and I think that this fits a lot more of like that quick dodgy mage that they've been wanting to make her. Right, because I think like, especially for me, like in all of the Zed talks we've done, changing a character's gameplay to match their theme is always something I really push for. And I think that that's always been something that's like felt bad about Ahri, is that like you look at her and how she's like seems to be designed and what they're trying to do. It's like, this should be a mobile character who's like in and out and in and out. But really it's just like you do nothing until you land an E, and your ulti is, not even so much about the mobility, but just getting the extra 100 damage because your combo doesn't have enough to kill them.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest part. Mm-hmm.
She's definitely a character that suffered the most from like power creep over the years, because she definitely was released as like, holy fuck, this character has 3 dashes on their ultimate. To her 3 dashes are probably less mobile than most new character releases. So, but it's cool. I'm really happy with this. It's fucking great.
Yeah, very cool. And then she also has visual and sound effects updates for, I think, every single skin. And I believe I can't remember where I saw this from, but I believe she has a chroma for every single skin now.
Oh, that's cool.
I think so. I think I was watching that YouTuber who put out those like really weird guides that everyone liked on Reddit.
Oh, yeah.
The like I don't know, I couldn't remember.
They did it during the Ahri-versary thing like last year. Like they gave
Oh,
her
I forgot about that. I forgot about that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
But yeah, awesome.
Next
is... So with that, we're back to the patch. Nick, do you want to read it? Because I accidentally closed the patch out.
Yeah, sure. Next up is action. His passive is being reduced. The second shot is the damage is being lowered. Oh no, I'm sorry. The bonus move speed when you cancel a second shot is lowered, and the 3-stack bonus magic damage is lowered.
That's good. He has a lot of power in his passive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's too much, and feels really bad to... I don't know, I've been playing a decent amount of mid, and it feels so shitty to lane against Akshan because, like, you'll hit your combo on him, and he'll just, like, auto you twice and miss his Q and, like, do nothing with his E, but win the trade.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel so mad. Again, because I'm playing control mages typically when like you do that shit where it's like, okay, I'm playing Orianna, I hit my QW, I pulled my E through them, I autoed them twice, and Akshan just autoed me twice but did more damage in the whole trade.
Yeah. Next is Amumu. His base armor is decreased and his E passive damage reduction is now capped. So this is purely a nerf because there were certain instances where Siri would be behind and Amumu would be ahead, and he would have like his E maxed, and because Zeri's damage per bullet is split 7 times, she would do like 1 damage per pellet to him, like at certain times, because he just reduces each pellet.
Yeah, deal with it. Fuck you, Zeri.
He did use a hard counter, so they're making it a little less. He's still a really good counter to Zeri, because he obviously reduces all of her pellets individually, but it's not going to be like you're doing 0 damage to Amumu now, which it's cool.
Yeah, so they've capped it at the most it's going to reduce it is to half.
Yeah.
Which I don't love, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, Brand is getting some quality of life changes to his passive and ultimate. It looks like... okay, the mana refund upon killing an enemy now also occurs if his ability last hits a target that was not ablaze. So he just gets mana regen if you last hit with abilities, and then the ult's targeting will prioritize nearby enemies before bouncing back to Brand at full range.
Really good.
So yeah, I think Brand's like kind of sleeper like good, to where I like he probably should be picked. I don't think he should be picked mid lane, but I could see him in like an AP carry role or taking over the support role more.
He's the most consistent bottom lane mage because even if you're feeding on him, you can still put in a lot of damage right before you die.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
You press ER and then that's insane.
Flash yourself into the fight, ER, and just die. Yeah. It's fine.
kind of like a Karthus in that sense.
Yeah.
A little bit easier to play.
Yeah. So up next we've got Caitlyn. Her attack damage growth is decreased and her Q damage has been reduced. So
yeah, this is strictly a nerf for pro play, I think.
Yeah, she's crazy in pro play. This will also just make her wave clear a little bit worse, which is probably good for the game.
Yeah.
Next is Corky. First package is delayed and restock cooldown is increased. So first package is now 10 minutes into the game rather than 8, and the restock is every 5 minutes instead of 4. I don't honestly think this is going to be that big of a nerf, to be honest. I feel like people don't play around this well enough already in solo queue. Yeah, and I don't think this will change very much. It's going to make it so that hopefully it won't make it. So they literally said, I was just assuming, they said they'll also get restocked at a slow rate so that he can't make make special deliveries to every dragon spawn, which is good because you just save Corky package for big objectives and then kind of at least have a pretty good chance of winning them just because you have this strong ability. But
yeah.
Dragon respawn is every 5 minutes though, right?
Yeah, but if you pick it up, then it goes on cooldown after you use it. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, so you have a small window where the dragon will be up and Corky will not be able to have the package. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was gonna bring up. Is that like you still probably get package every dragon fight or in the aftermath of the dragon fight?
Yeah, the aftermath is the bigger thing. Or if they're not on it right away, they get punished for it. But this is good. I mean, it is really annoying when he just has a fucking crazy tool for huge objectives. So
yeah, it almost feels like it should be like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It is such a game-changing ability if you land it, you know.
But it also feels shit when it's just like when they wait it out.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird thing to balance because it's not his ultimate either.
It might as well be.
Yeah.
LeBlanc, W damage is decreased at the higher ranks of the ability.
Fuck LeBlanc.
Good. Also, the little blurb says LeBlanc has been too strong for too long.
That's pretty funny, actually.
Spelled in the LeBlanc sense.
Yeah.
Lilia, the ultimate sleep duration is increased early, so small buffs for Lilia.
So it's a pretty big buff rank 1 because it's 1.5 to 2, but once again, like I've talked about this a lot. I think a lot of power from Lilia's ult comes from the fact that you apply a burn on them, and then you have a couple seconds where you have the ability to use your ultimate, so it's like pseudo CC because they can't play forward because you will CC them, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that doesn't change that much by adding an extra 0.5 seconds, especially it's a sleep, right? So you wake them up as soon as you hit them, so 2 seconds and 1.5 isn't really that big of a difference because you're probably waking them up at 1.75 usually anyways, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I don't know, it's interesting.
I'm with you, man, that like the time before she casts it is the more effective part normally. That being said, I think that this is interesting because like I could see them giving characters longer sleeps, right? Because I think this is one of the very few CCs that like you could start really amping up without it being completely game breaking, right? Like Lilia, probably not Lilia because she can hit like a 5-man, but like let's say they like had a character whose ultimate was asleep, like sure, put them to sleep for 5 seconds.
Yeah,
because like right, like it's fine because if anybody hits them, it just breaks. But also like if your team is good, like, you know, everyone's just like sitting there waiting, like when somebody hourglasses at 15 HP. Yeah. And they're just all like waiting, ready to go.
Yeah, no, I think you could have a 5-second like sleep for like single target ultimate or something like that. That'd be like really cool. So
yeah. So after Lilia, we've got Nami. Her passive bonus movement speed is increased and now decays over the duration. The on-hit base damage from her E has been reduced.
I was talking about this change. So when they showed the preview for the changes, this is the change I was talking about the most. I don't think anyone fucking understands how strong movement speed is in this fucking game. Yeah. And doubling Nami's movement speed, but now it decays, is a fucking crazy buff. The character's already like fringe, like good right now. And like, I don't know, man, 90 movement speed, like holy fuck. Like you just play any 80 carry and just speed them up just by throwing shit on them like constantly.
90 movement speed before AP ratio or Shirelia's if you're building it.
It is obviously like movement speed has a very decaying like what's the word like diminishing returns on it. So you probably won't be getting the full double buff from this or whatever. But it's just crazy. Movement speed is the best stat in League of Legends. Like as we're seeing with Zeri being fucking
as we're seeing with Zeri. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that particularly right. Nami, you know, her kit is built around this passive where you put your E on your 80 carry, and that 90 movement speed like buff lets them land in auto attack, which means the opponent is slowed, which means you get to land the second auto attack, which means they're slowed, which means you get to land a third, and now there's a bubble, and now you're healed and they're damaged, right? Like it enables it so much. Or it also like boosts her disengage like crazy, where you know if she just like pops an ability on you or herself and you just run away and get to tower instantly.
Yeah, and really remember that I believe. I will double check while we're going on. But I believe her ultimate doubles the application of the passive.
It sure does.
So it will be ulting for 180 movement speed before.
Yeah, which once again, diminishing returns, it won't actually be 180, but it still is fucking crazy because it's an AoE movement speed buff, like for your team.
Yeah, I mean it's a Sivir ulti combined with Nami ulti.
Yeah, it's good, man. Nami's gonna be good.
Nami Kench bot lane.
Yeah, I think you can play Kench with
Maybe.
anything bottom. By the way, I was completely proven wrong. By the way, a couple days ago, I was like, Tom Kench has like 3,000 games played, 80 carry bottom, and I'm like, that can't all be Senna, right? It was like 3,800 games, and I'm like,
Are they all Senna?
It was like 3,750. I was so proven wrong, man. But I do think he's good with like a bunch of other stuff. I just think people don't play it, obviously. But
yeah, for sure. Next up is Quinn. W passive attack speed bonus is increased early, and the ultimate damage ratio is increased.
This is a fucking crazy buff, by the way.
This is a big buff.
W is her best ability for lane Quinn. Just so you guys know. And here's Quinn fun fact of the day. What is Quinn's W cooldown? Because the ability gives attack speed and gives an AoE sight thing. What is the cooldown of that ability?
The sight thing?
When she uses W to click it.
Oh, the sight thing I think is like 20 seconds, right?
Rank 1, it's 50 seconds.
50
it's really
seconds.
long.
Isn't that crazy?
Jesus.
Fucking Renato's being released with a fucking amping attack speed movement speed buff that has a revive mechanic on it.
But she can use twice before.
And Quinn
Before Quinn can say, I see you.
for 50 seconds. Isn't that crazy? Like, obviously W is a strong ability because of the attack speed, but why is it 50 seconds for seeing people?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you max W into melee matchups, and I think Q or E into ranged.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I was blown away by that fact. But
funny.
Let's talk about Senna. How they're fucking gutting her in a weird way this patch. Because Senna, they turbo buffed her by making her attacks slow, which they didn't revert, by the way. They're just making it so that her when she kills minions, now she doesn't have a 10% chance of dropping soul. She has a 2.7% chance.
I feel like this is how it used to be. Like she was released and then she got played 80 carry, so they reduced the chance of her getting it if she lost it, hits it, and then I think I think it turned out that she wasn't getting played at all, and then they fixed it. I don't know, something like that.
It was like she was played AD carry, and then like they nerfed it for her, right? And then she was played support as fasting Senna. So then they like buffed her carry one again. So like when you last hit it, and now they're nerfing it back. Why not just revert the fucking attack speed slow? She was a fine character before her auto attack slowed. I don't know.
Yeah, So it goes on to say that this equates to about 1 soul different for every 6 minion waves.
Yeah, because there's weird like things about it. Like there's internal cooldowns for a bunch of stuff.
Okay.
The reality is there's tons of behind the scenes math that goes into the optimal way of playing Senna. Like people talk about this. Once again, I'm not an expert. I just kind of hear people talking about it, and this is where my knowledge comes from. Reckless apparently is one of the best players in the game of understanding how Senna's soul mechanic works, and will purposely farm waves, or like not farm waves, and farm jungle based on these internal cooldowns of drop chance.
Interesting.
So it's one of those things that if you're like the most insane Senna player and you understand the behind the scenes, you can balance between farming, not farming, and farming jungle creeps to maximize this. It's just like a weird behind the scenes thing, and I have no idea how you figure that shit out. But apparently no one else in the world does this, though.
That's wild.
If anyone has any information about this, like I've heard Reckless is one of the only players who like abuses this, though.
It's so dumb. Like that shouldn't be a thing. I hate that's a thing.
Yeah. Once again, I could be talking about ass, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
It almost feels like abusing Kindred Mark spawns, but on like on the extreme.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. Then we're on to Twisted Fate. Q damage ratio is increased. Base damage is decreased late, and the E bonus attack speed is decreased early. So nerfs to the strength of Rapid Fire Everfrost.
He's still going to be built that way, though.
Fate.
He's just not worth.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. But he'll do less damage than before, at the very least.
A little bit, yeah.
Cool.
Up next, we've got Siri. Looks like a decent amount. Oh, not too much. Base move speed reduced. Fully charged basic attack damage decreased. R chain lightning damage decreased, but can now critically strike.
So we saw Zeri nerf into Zeri hotfix nerf into Zeri nerf. Is she still going to be good?
Yes.
Yes.
That's my guess. I don't think she lost enough, and I think she actually probably gained some damage with her ult lightning damage being able to crit.
Yeah, I also think one of the biggest things of telling if a character is going to be strong, because I feel like she's the character that I've seen the most people think that she's not that strong, and people are just overrating her. But she's playable in 3 roles, like good in 3 roles. So I think she's probably going to continue to be good.
I actually think her best role is in solo lanes. I think
it's mid.
Her bot lane, I feel like it's top just because there tends to be more melee characters that you can kite out. But it's definitely 1 and 2. I think bottom. Yeah. She actually is probably weak bottom. I think she comes online a little too late for bottom.
Well, she goes Trinity Force, which is like a little weird as well for like bottom laners and stuff. So, but it's cool. Good change.
Awesome. Then we got some bug fixes with her as well. We've got a lot of Mythic Fighter changes. If you want to see all of the changes, you can take a look at the list. I don't think we're going to do that.
The gist of it is just that they're making all the bruiser items, meaning Divine Sunder, Gore Drinker, Trinity Force, Death's Dance, Syrinx Gauge, Mob Mill Marty's, Blade of the Ring King, Black Cleaver, Ravenous Hydra, Hearthbound Axe, Hex Drinker, all be less of tank items but more of damage items. So bruisers aren't just infinitely tanky while also doing damage. They're going to do more damage but it'd be less tanky. So
So
generally health down, attack damage up.
Yep. Also, Death's Dance is going to be OP.
It's already crazy, and it's going to be even better. So,
yes. Also, it looks like Maw Malmortius is actually a pickable item now. You can actually build it.
It's been terrible for so long
without trolling.
So it's good.
So awesome. We've got a little bit of changes for Turbo Chem Tank as well. We can take a look at that. But I think, essentially, it's going to be the same thing. But a little bit worse for characters that shouldn't build it. We've got a bunch of bug fixes, a visual effects update for Vel'Koz.
It looks good.
And then 3 skins, Crystal Rose Action, Crystal Rose Janna, and Withered Rose Elise.
Yeah,
the action skin looks very good.
He looks so dapper.
And then chromas for each of them as well. Awesome. Let's jump into let's move on, I guess. Not jump in.